Hey, aloha, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome
everyone.
to our Friday Marketing Live Jam session. Nick and I are in the house. I see some people starting to come on. Awesome. Aloha, Adil.
Adil.
Yeah, pop in the comments if you're on here. We're super excited to be here. Another busy week. Hey, aloha, Dorn.
Dorn.
Like,
Dude.
you put something in there. I love it.
Wait. Hold on. Dorn. I'm glad you're hanging out with us, man. We appreciate you, dude.
Glad to see you too.
We should talk about that a little bit, about what we were talking about,
Yes.
Dorn, the other day. We will. We'll bring it up. Yep.
Hey, aloha, Jeff, Sylvie, Tim, Kevin, Janice.
Look at Mike. Mike said, how much of your business is actually helping customers and how much is reselling these software products in percentage? Hey, Mike, after I get off this call, I have to transition into working with businesses. So we got about an hour right now with you. And then the rest of the day is going to be working with clients. So I hope that helps give you a little more info. We're actually in an office right now calling businesses basically all day.
Yeah. And we actually have we have two separate businesses, right? We have our agencies and then we have Offline Sharks. So
yeah. Hey,
what's up, Zach?
Zach is back and feeling good. That's good to hear, Zach. Bill Marks, David Calafori. Awesome. We got the whole crew here. Let me get rid of this gum. Patty Rakowski, Jeremy Peetman, Shannon.
Awesome. We're excited to have you guys all here. We've got a good show lined up for you today. I already have the show notes open, so
it's off. I hope everybody has a cash tag set up, right, for the Cash App, because we've been giving out some money via Cash App. So we'll probably give away some more cash on this call, just simple questions, and we'll send it to you via Cash App.
Yeah, look at Tim. First AGM last night. Thanks for making it easy. That's awesome, Tim.
Whoa. That's awesome.
Oh, Patty said you can't see the shirt. It says Atari. This was the first video game console I had.
Patty, when we end the lockdown, or when the lockdown is over, I guess I should say, Tom and I we're gonna do a little shopping, so that way we have more than 5 t-shirts.
Yeah, that would be nice, huh? Awesome. Dorn says old school. Yeah, Dorn, it's so funny you mentioned that, because I've been feeling I've been looking online, looking for old shirts that talk about old stuff. Alistair said it shows my age. It does. I'm getting ready to turn 47 next month. Whew, 47. Yikes. I'm just glad I made it there. It's been a bumpy road at times.
Yeah, I mean, for us all, right? For everybody. I think, especially anybody that's looking to, go on their own path. It's so much easier to just follow the norm sometimes, right? Just kind of put your head down and do what you're told to do. Like, I have this friend, this friend, I'm not going to say his name, and I want to share this with everybody because I think it's kind of funny. So I have been renting a room out in my house to this friend of mine, right? And he's very, very different. I actually started an Instagram account for him. You can find it. It's called Guy on Couch 808. He's mildly famous in the Maui area. But what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say it was so funny. Like he got upset when you created that Instagram. It was
Oh
great.
man, but it's great. We'll be at the we'll be at like a restaurant somewhere, and people will come up and be like, "Hey, you're the guy on the couch," and he'll be like super embarrassed. But he doesn't do Instagram. He doesn't doing that stuff. And it's funny because like all the pictures on the Instagram are of like me taking them of him, and people for some reason think that it's actually his. But anyway, the reason I brought this up is because we have like very different mentalities, very different. When we talk about, life, I bring up entrepreneurship. I bring up always progressing, always bettering yourself, always trying to move the ball forward, like we talk about here a lot. And for him, he just says like, man, that sounds stressful, And I say to him like, yeah, but don't you want more? Like, don't you want something else? Don't you want to continue to keep getting better at whatever it is you're doing? And I'm referring back to, building a business, starting something of your own. Because he talks about not liking his job and hating his boss, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, well, dude, you should totally do your own thing. And he says, yeah, but when I look at what you're doing and I think about like how often you're always like working and doing things, he says that doesn't interest me at all. Like I would rather just show up, punch a clock, get my check and leave, come home, hang out on the couch and not have any other like responsibilities or things to do. He's like, I look at you and you're just always going. And so it's weird. Like for me, when I heard that, I'm like, I thought everybody thought the same way that we do, but it's not true. It's not true at all.
No, my wife called me an overachiever the other day. She's like, "You're such an overachiever." I don't think she meant it in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny though, right? Like she's proud of you at the same time, right? We know that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I see Patty says that her and Janice are both in Chicago, so they mastermind together sometimes. That's awesome. Yeah,
oh, wow.
In-person masterminds are great. Just getting around like-minded people, I think, is such a big thing. One thing I was thinking about too, Mike asking about like, the kind of the difference in our businesses, right? Like what we're doing. Like, Mike, one thing I would recommend is like model what we do, because if you look at just the overall structure between our agencies and Offline Sharks, right? So we created and started doing all this stuff because we're trying to design a certain lifestyle for ourselves and for our families. And, one of the things, when you start an agency, which is, agency work is great, like working with clients, it's, for me, it was a much easier way to start generating cash flow than trying to do anything online. Like I tried to make money online before and it didn't work out, and the agencies and working with clients and all that stuff was, I found for me was a much easier way to do that. Now, as I progress along in my agency, right, like I started to see like, yeah, agencies are really great, but I also wanted to diversify what I was doing. I wanted to be able to grow exponentially, right? And I wanted to be able to, have different things going. I actually talk about this in an episode of my podcast that talks about creating multiple streams of revenue and how a lot of people think, when they think diversification and they think multiple streams of revenue, they think about doing a bunch of different things that are all separate, right? But what I have kind of discovered in my experience, and Nick can back this up too, is that multiple streams of revenue and diversification doesn't have to come from completely different things. Like you can actually build off of what you're already doing, right? And so when my agency was humming along and when, I got to that 6-figure mark and it was like, okay, let's keep this thing growing. Like I started thinking, well, how can I leverage what I'm already doing to grow even more, right? And that's why I put out my first product, right? One was when I was having success and I thought it was a good it's a good thing that other people would want to do, right? So, but on top of that, it's like I'm already working with clients. I'm already doing those things. Like we might as well leverage what's going on there, especially since we're having success, and share that with other people, and we can leverage that into another stream of revenue, right? More income. And so it's really like we're building on what we're already doing instead of trying to go where I think a lot of people make the mistake or they get sidetracked is they try to go do a bunch of different things, right? Now, what's interesting is once I started having success with my agency, it gave me the content I needed. It gave me the stuff I needed to be able to create products and put them online, right? So the fact that we're working with businesses every day, the fact that Nick is, over there at his office, he's got somebody calling businesses, like that's all content that we can then leverage into Offline Sharks, right? So they really work together. And I don't think you should get too wrapped up in like what is, when you start doing things like that, don't get too wrapped up in like how much is each thing making. Just do good work in both places, right? Like do good work in both places and focus, bring value. You need to, we try things that don't work and we don't share those, right? Like, cause they don't work. Like we could probably just
Sometimes we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we share about them not working, but we don't really, like we wouldn't put out a product on something that we weren't trying or
that
doing
didn't
ourselves,
work.
right?
Yeah.
We just wouldn't do that. And so, that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. Like, what are you doing now and how can you leverage that into other streams of revenue, right? How can you get that thing going? And, if one business does way better than the other, it's just a bonus. It's like you can still have both things going and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. I mean, if we didn't have all of the results and case studies and real world stuff to back up what we were doing, then you wouldn't have good content, right? So it's important for us to make sure that, whatever we're doing, it's real. Tom and I are both actually doing that stuff. And I think for, one of the reasons why we started Offline Sharks, and, I hope all of you probably already know this, but the reason is because when we were building our businesses and we were getting started, there was a disconnect that we found between the content that we found online versus what was actually happening in those guru type people's businesses, right? We'd find products and we thought they were great ideas, only to find out that, they're not actually real strategy. Like those people that create those products, they don't actually do those things. So for us, it was really about coming to the market with stuff that we actually do and we can show you that we actually do, and then show people just by leading by example, right? We want to lead by example, which a lot of you have been following Agency Growth Machine, the We Deliver Maui site, the Hawaii Thrive site. All that stuff the Hawaii Thrive, it's been going on for a little while, but I didn't want to let you all know about it because we didn't have the results to back it up yet, right? We didn't have all of the, the case study material, the metrics, the analytics. And now that we are doing that and we are, calling lots of businesses and we're talking to them, we're hearing what they're saying, and we're trying to sell them different services. Now we're telling you about that because only now do we have those results. So I think, and I know Tom feels the same way, and everybody on our Offline Sharks team, that's the premise of our community really is by doing. Just by doing, we know that you guys will get great content out of that and find value in it. And that's how we've grown our business with Offline Sharks, our community, by being with you, with you in the trenches, not with you. So I hope that made sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And, it also, like when you talk about doing products and doing things online and the kind of stuff we do, right? Those are a different type of income flow, right? Like we can create a product and we can create the product one time, and then we can continue to sell it, right? Like we can also hit a wider swash of people, right? Like with an agency, your agency is going to grow as you get more clients. So you're always going to be bringing in more clients, and doing individual services for each clients, right? Whereas when you come to the online marketing side, it's like we can create one product and we can sell that one thing to a bigger, to a market, right? And I don't know that the local market is like super big, but it's, it's just another way, again, to leverage what we're already doing instead of having to try to go out and start up new things and stuff like that. And I think it's, you should really look at everything we're doing. Like, it depends on what you want to do, right? Like, where do you want to go? And also too, just like Nick brought up with his friend, you got to think about like, what are you willing to put into it? Right. Like, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that from the outside probably go, oh yeah, I'd love to have something like Offline Sharks. But man, when you see all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like you might be like, that's not for me. Like I'd much rather like have an easier way to do things. Like, because it does take a lot of work, on both fronts. It takes a lot of work and effort to build an agency, and to get to that 6-figure and above mark. And it takes a lot of work to build a business like Offline Sharks,
Hey, look at this. Shannon says that he makes more money than his sister-in-law, and she's a high paid and respected therapist in her own practice, thanks to Offline Sharks. That's I love that. Awesome. And he's saying, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying that these guys are real deal. I went from a boring and stressful job to financial freedom. And Shannon, we honestly, man, we appreciate you sharing that with us. And I was talking to Dorn just a couple of days ago. Dorn has been sharing his success in the group, and that, you guys, we ask all of the Sharks to share their success with us, share your failure with us. They're not sharing this in the group to brag. They're sharing that so we can celebrate in their success together. They're not, there's some people in the group that are kind of hating on people that are doing well. And that's not what we want going on in our group. Like we're a community. We're all supporting each other, and we want to know when you're having success. So do not hold back from that. And if I find out that you are like shaming people for being successful, then you probably don't deserve to be in our group. So I hope that's not, I don't think anybody on this call is doing that. But anyway, on another note, let's shift gears a little bit.
Well, that's good that you bring that up, because you're right. Like we want, the Offline Sharks group it's a safe space. It's a place where, we don't recommend that you go around bragging to all your friends about what you're doing and how much money you're making. Like we don't do that, right? Like we don't do that. But that group, like the reason we encourage it in the group is because, for me, I need to see that other people are able to actually have some success. It gets me motivated. It gets me fired up. Like, when I see Zach talking about getting clients, I think, man, I got to step up my game. Like when I see Dorn, when I see Shannon and all that stuff, like it gets me fired up. And it's also too, like a really great reminder that it's like, it's not, so many times people, I think you look at people, maybe you look at Nick and I this way and think, yeah, but it's easy for you guys, and, when you see other people in the group and doing things and having success, like you should be proud. You should be happy for them. You should be excited, because that's just another sign along the road that you can do this too. Like I know it sounds corny, but it's like, I know that if I can do this, like like if you really put in some work and effort, you can do it too. I'm not anything super special. And even when you look at what we're doing with Offline Sharks, the same thing. I mean, I started the What's the Secret podcast to start sharing, some of the things that we're doing to grow Offline Sharks and the things that we've been doing to make this, a really great business. Because if you have, I just think it's like Jay Abraham says, it's like, if you're able to do something and have some success with it, it's like, it's your moral responsibility to turn around, and help the person next to you. and, to show other people what can be done and how you're doing it, and try to help empower them to be able to do the same things. Now, that doesn't mean you want to go out and create a business like Offline Sharks, but you can apply a lot of the principles and stuff that we're doing in both places to whatever it is you're good at, whatever skill sets you have, whatever things you have going on, and I think that's really key, right? Like, we just want, we want everybody in the group to be successful. I mean, we really do. We want to see you guys work. And so that's why we try to, share a lot of different things. We talk a lot about mindset. We talk a lot about, because those are all things that Nick and I have had to adjust and had to learn along the way, right? I mean, I was just telling Nick the other day, it's like, he had a call with the CPA, and it's like, as you grow, it gets overwhelming, right, Nick? Like, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like so many things. And so, we're having to become different people and change our behaviors and make, different decisions. And that process of how we're doing that and what we're figuring out along the way, I think, is really valuable.
Yeah. So I want to do a quick giveaway real quick, because someone made comment about the studio setup. So are you guys ready for a quick little cash app giveaway?
Let's do it.
Give you some ones in the chat real quick. It's crazy. We're already 20 minutes into this thing. Can you believe that? Sometimes when we do these lives, it flies by so fast. And before I get into that giveaway real quick, look at that. James said he landed a client today. He's writing up the agreement right now. $2,000. Boom.
Awesome, James. Awesome.
Congratulations, James. Make sure you let us know what kind of customer that is. I'm curious. Is that a like a lead gen client or like an SEO client? Okay, you guys. So, and James actually said this. So, I got this new mic, right? This is the question. And there are a lot of people that have this mic, right, Tom? I think
yes, there are.
But there's one podcaster that I really appreciate. I'm sure a lot of you do. If you guys can guess who that, he's like the number one podcaster probably out there right now, I will give you some money through the Cash App.
What, they just have to come up with his name?
Yeah.
Didn't he recently sell his podcast? Or somebody?
He licensed it. He might have. Dorn. Joe Rowe.
I appreciate that, Doug, but I don't even know that Nick listens to my podcast.
I do. Yeah. That's not true. I do listen to Tom's podcast in my car. Dorn got it. Joe Rogan. I call him Joe Rowe. Joe Rowe. Do you guys think that you could bug Joe Rogan and try to get me on his podcast? I'd appreciate that. Next time you guys see Joe Rogan put out a podcast or one of his YouTube videos or whatever, just make sure you tag me in the comments and tag Tom and let him know to have us on his show. We'd appreciate that. Dorn, can you put your cash tag in the chat, and I'm gonna send you a little gift. Appreciate you being quick on the keyboard, sir. Yeah, call him Vegan Cat, and he will. Yeah, he had a joke recently about the vegan cat. Have you guys? Actually, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Let's get into the programming.
Yeah, let's do some shark shout outs, because I know we've done a few just from people posting in the comments here, but we have some scheduled shark shout outs as well. So let me fire up my share screen here, and because we got some good ones today. So our first shark shout out goes to Alistair Norburn, and this post just made me warm and fuzzy inside. This is really awesome. So what Alistair said is, look, things are happening due to the prominence of his AGM site he built across his county, and especially for the town community. he got a call from the town mayor. And this is, what did he post this? He posted this on June 17th. So he got a call on June 16th from the town mayor, and they have funding to support businesses to help them thrive again. So they were considering doing their own directory site, but know about my site because he's got 5 counselors are listed on it, and decided there's no point in competing. So they want to discuss how we can jointly add all businesses locally as they reopen. And the local paper wants to feature the site too. So his initial thought is to offer to build them a new site using the same layout as his first one, but to charge the council for the site and discuss how the listings go on. Possibly they'll have a list of the businesses, but I need to discuss charges for actually adding lists. So it looks like a Thrive model is coming to his town. And that, I mean, that is awesome. I mean, that is awesome, Alistair. And like, again, you know, look, like, you know, Alistair took some action. He did some things, and just look what fell into his lap because of the current situation, right? I mean, really, really awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, I wasn't able to meet the mayor for my AGM site, but I got to meet the mayor through other marketing. Like I helped run a promotion for an event, and because I helped run that promotion and fill the stadium with seats, they seated me next to the mayor of Maui. He's not the mayor anymore, but the old mayor, he was a better mayor, I think. Not that much better, but a little bit better. Anyway, that's awesome. So yeah, I would totally nurture that relationship, Alistair. And like I said, you know, I wouldn't worry so much about how much money you can make from that project. Oftentimes they don't, you know, they have a budget, they have a real budget, so they don't have a lot of money to spend. But wow, what a opportunity for doors to open for you. Like, who knows who you will meet along the way, and also what a positioning credibility piece that you have that you can add to your portfolio once that project is done, right? You can always go back and say to any incoming customers or prospects, you know, we worked with the mayor, we've done this, we've done that. That will always help you to push your products and services even farther and close more deals. So congratulations.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and again, it's just a good testament to like, look, what we're doing here with these influencer sites is valuable, right? And it's something people are looking for. Oh, one of the things, you know, it's interesting about what you said here, Alistair, with getting the mayor, because one of the things that happened to me very early on, so as you guys know, I did that 9x12 mailer. Like, that was the way I started to grow my business. And one time after I did a couple of mailings, the people at the post office here in Kihei, they were like, hey, so you do these mailings, like, give us your business cards, because people come into the post office all the time and ask about every door direct mail. But the post office, I mean, all they do is mail it, right? Like, they don't know anything about the printing, about getting things set up. And so the post office started just handing out my business card. So anytime somebody would come in and ask about every door direct mail, they would say, here's this guy, call him. He lives here in Kihei. This is what he's doing. And so, like, I used to tell people, like, I'm backed by the United States Post Office, like, just as kind of a joke. But it's just one of those things that, you know, that I just kind of fell in place, right? Because I was doing stuff and they had a need, right? They couldn't provide that stuff, printing and things like that, for people that wanted to do every door direct mail, any type of really direction. I mean, they just do the mailing. So that worked out really well for me. So there's lots of other services, not just these influencer sites, that you could be doing, that you may luck into some things along the way with that stuff. So awesome, Alistair. And the second shout out goes to one of the comments down here. This is a comment from Sean O'Brien. And oh, was it Sean that was the one? Oh, hold on. Where did it go?
Bill said, way to shut down the competition, Alistair. Very, very nice. And yeah, Dorn, I just sent you that money.
Where did this comment go? There's a comment in the feed. I can see it in the show notes here. Hold on. It was from Dom. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, no, that's not on this post. That's on our next shout out. So I got to go to the next one. So sorry. So Alistair, great job, man. Great job. So our next shout out goes to Shannon, who we were just talking about earlier, right? And Shannon said he lost 3 big SEO clients back in March due to COVID-19. You know, that happened to a lot of people. one of them being his longest, biggest client. And he got super discouraged, which is a natural feeling, right? Like we were going through those emotions when all this started happening. He said, however, I kept staying focused during these troubling times and kept sending out SEO proposals for potential new projects when I could. I just kept telling myself that things will get better and that there's still plenty more opportunities out there. This may sound corny, but during that time, I was releasing faith-filled words into the atmosphere and imagining myself with new and bigger clients, even when I currently didn't have any. In the past week, he's closed 3 new SEO clients, a truck freight company, a solar panel company, and an epoxy flooring company, all 3 with bigger SEO budgets and long-term commitments. So I've been doing the digital marketing freelance for 2 years now. There's been a lot of highs and lows, but one thing is for sure, never give up and keep taking action. There's a risk with being a digital entrepreneur, but the reward is so worth it. So Shannon, man, that's a great post. You have a lot of really great nuggets in there. A couple things that I would like to kind of just touch on from your post is one, like, even though you feel those feelings of discouragement, you keep taking action and you keep trying to rework things, right? That's really, really a great thing to remember for everybody out there. The other thing is your technique of visualization and getting right? Like I've talked about this some before, but it's not just a mindset thing. Like I know for me, before I could really start to improve my situation, like I had to get grateful for what I already had, right? Like there was a time in my life where I was very unhappy because I wasn't happy with what I had. And like the shift started for me when I really got clear with myself that what I had right now was good. Like I had a great wife, I had healthy kids. Like I didn't really have a business, but I had a lot of things going for me. I had a skill set that I knew I could do something with. Like I was actively trying to better myself. Like there's all those things that come into play. And I think that's a little bit of what Shannon's talking about there. And I think that that's a super important thing that we don't really talk about a lot, right? Like just trusting the process and realizing that there's plenty of opportunity out there. Opportunity is all around you. Even in a down economy, there's a lot of money flowing out there. And if we can, just put ourselves in the path of some of it, we can get that kind of stuff, and I just did an interview yesterday, an upcoming interview for my podcast with best-selling author, Mike Michalowicz. And one of the things that he said, and I'll spill the beans on this just for the sharks, but one of the things he said at the end of the podcast about what's going on right now is he said, one of the first things we have to do as entrepreneurs and business owners is we have to change how we talk about what's going on. And he said, everybody's out there talking about recession. And he's like, we're in a recession. No question about that. He's like, but as entrepreneurs, we need to relabel it for ourselves. And so what he's been doing is relabeling it the Reinvention. And I thought this was so great. He's like, right now in my business, I'm reinventing my business. And he's like, the way that I started to do that was I just emailed my customers and said, hey, with everything that's going on, how can I best serve you? He's like, and then I listened to what they said, and then I just reinvented my business to start providing those things. And so if you look at what what Nick especially is doing with Hawaii Thrive, that's what he's been doing, right? He's been reinventing his business because the environment, the situation has changed. People are not responding the same way to the same things they did before. So, he said, look, here's an opportunity. People are going to need to know what businesses are open. There's going to be this push to really support local and get these local economies up and going. So we're just going to retool our business to fit what's going on, right? So yeah, I thought that was a great tip. You guys, you're going to freaking love this podcast, Nick. I mean, it was a short interview because he's like super, super busy. We had to keep it to 20 minutes, but he packs so much stuff in the 20 minutes. It's like, it's really probably one of the best interviews I've done.
When are you going to release that one?
It'll probably be out in, 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
I almost
Where can everybody go? What's the link so they can go to get hooked up to your podcast? What's the best place for them to do that?
If you get, well, you can search it on iTunes, right? I'm on iTunes or Spotify, all those places. But if you go to tomgaddis.com, there's all the episodes are there too. And there's links to subscribe and all that stuff. But yeah, I actually thought about releasing his episode sooner. It was that good. Like when I got off, I was like, man, this is so good. Like I should like release this sooner rather than later, but we'll see.
What did he call what did he rebrand the recession as?
The Reinvention.
The Reinvention. Can we steal that? Can we just start talking about the reinvention here?
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh man, that's so good. The Reinvention.
I think we should start talking about that. The reinvention. What do you guys think? No more recession, but just be about the reinvention. I think that's a great idea. And I'm with you, Shannon.
A great way to look at it, right?
Yeah, right. I was just going to say, though, I'm with you, Shannon. Like, I was just yesterday looking at the the recurring services that we have within our agency, and we've lost a good chunk of clients, and for Hawaii especially, we've been talking about this a lot. Like, we are being affected in a different way than a lot of the United States, in that, I don't know if you guys know this, but our economy is like almost I would say 90% tourism, right? Like all the jobs here for people that live here are basically in the tourist industry. So right now, since there is a mandatory 14-day quarantine for any new arrival into the state of Hawaii, meaning if you come here, you have to get posted up for 14 days in your hotel or whatever, and they will find you. Like when you come to the airport, they basically make you put an app on your phone that they can track and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? You got to give them an address. Basically, nobody's coming here. And so all of the economy and business here, especially, is just being dramatically impacted by what's going on. It's basically been turned off overnight, right? So it's been tough for a lot of businesses that are our customers. I spoke with an activity company yesterday. They are a tour company. You're familiar with the name, Tom. I don't want to drop the name because I don't want anybody to go over there and start trying to prospect them. But because I know we got a lot of sharks with us, right? But he was telling me, like, he's very interested in what we're doing with our our social media campaign that we've just released to everybody on our Hawaii Thrive list, our We Deliver Maui list. And he wants to have hold a spot for 2 months down the road for when things potentially open up, So I'm with you, Shannon. Like I've seen a lot of that. It can be very discouraging, losing customers, a lot of customers, but we've also been seeing the same thing as you, where we've gained a few, and we are, I believe, regardless of, what's going on, doing a bit of reinventing and figuring out where are the solutions for the people that are here now, and how can we give them those solutions and transition our business into, doing what we can, where we can, and who we can help right now. So, it's just a matter of like finding a new way. It's just a matter of finding a new way, just like with SEO, right? When your site won't rank, you just got to find a new way to get a different backlink, to add more content, to optimize the page a little better. It's the same thing with what's going on now. It's the reinvention, like Tom mentioned, and I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. What do you hear the other stuff he has on that? I mean, it was like probably one of the best 20-minute interview. Like I couldn't believe it was really great. He was super, super sharp guy and really, really nice too. His in-laws actually live on Lanai, which is like a ferry ride from Maui. So he's like, oh yeah, I come there because I go to Lanai to see my in-laws. I was like,
which actually is a plus for us right now, because so they just opened inner island travel. So now we can go from island to island. So I don't know. Tom's been hitting me up about like, oh, where should we go? What should we do?
Yeah, so like we should go to Oahu, just change the scenery. Well, and one more thing I just want to say about this too is one of the things I started doing early on in the shutdown was like, because I could feel when things really started happening, I could feel the scarcity mindset setting in for me. Like I was starting to worry. I was starting to, really like start worrying about what's going to happen in the future. And I wasn't really super focused on now. So one of the things that I did to shift that was I pulled out some of the books that, that kind of address that. And one of them we talked about on one of the lives not too long ago by Stuart Wilde, The Trick to Money is Having Some. That's like that's a book kind of about this topic. I just bought and read a book by Joe Vitale called Money Loves Speed. I've got a couple of other like financial related kind of success related books coming, because I know for me it's really important that I feed my brain with prosperous, positive things, because there's so much negative stuff coming at me from every angle right now, and I have to make a point to detach from that stuff and seek out things that remind me of what I'm trying to do and what I really believe is the reality. Cause it's tough, right? It's tough. You got to stay on point and on focus with that. So the other shout out that I was trying to find earlier is on this post, and it's from Dom. And Dom said, look, keep it up. I lost like 6 clients in February, March. Then in April, got 3 new. May 2, June, I'm signing my 2 biggest since I launched my business. COVID made it hard, but now it's the digital shift. They will all come to SEO and content marketing. So way to go, Dom.
Yeah, I agree with him too. I mean, it's what we're doing, right? It's exactly what we're doing. So, I mean, we're long on content marketing right now.
Yeah. It's, it's definitely opening up, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. So awesome. So let's see, that's Shannon, that's Dom. Our last shout out goes to Bruce Mayo, who's just been killing it in the Facebook group. So Bruce said, just posted the check screenshots of payments into the Shark Alliance, proof that the money keeps coming in. I had a call on Friday that I should be expecting a direct deposit today into the account for another 800 recurring. Also, the client agreed to 2 more projects, approximately $3,000 each over the next 2 months, July and August. Life is good. I don't normally post images of checks and payments, but want to do so now to encourage everyone to keep at it. Good things will come your way if you put in the effort. And again, just, another Bruce first, awesome job. Your hard work I know you work really hard at this, right? Like you're putting in a lot of effort and it's paying off. But also too, like for those of you out there that maybe, right now you feel like you're struggling, you're not getting there. Like this is another example that it's out there, right? It's out there. Like it's out there. It may take you some time to figure it out and to figure out how to find it, but it's out there. So way to go, Bruce.
Yeah. I want to know how Bruce, he made a live, he took a live of him right after he went and visited the local chamber. And this is like a couple days ago. I want to know, and he had a great strategy about visiting the chamber, and he had like a gift that he was giving everybody, an SEO audit, which I thought was a fantastic idea. But yeah, another example of, somebody taking action regardless of what's going on. But I'm curious how you got in the chamber and how you were able to meet up with them with everything going on. Are they're not doing the social distancing thing now, or were you all 6 feet apart in a room or something like that? I'm sure you were, or you all probably had masks. But yeah, I was kind of curious how that all happened.
Well, it's interesting, Nick, that you bring up the Chamber of Commerce, and Bruce, maybe this will help you out, because so I have been talking with this guy, Jeff, and he just sent me a message on Facebook about a strategy that he's looking to implement with the Chamber of Commerce. And I think it's pretty good. Let me tell you guys what he's doing, and then maybe some of you can run with it, or maybe it'll help you, Bruce, in what you're doing. So what Jeff did was he approached a local Chamber of Commerce that has 1,000 business members. Okay. So his first offer was that every member will get a free listing on his influencer website, which he already has set up, right? His second offer, so he said, look, I'm going to give everybody in the chamber a free listing on this website. Plus, everyone who upgrades, if they upgrade to a premium listing, right? The way that they upgrade to a premium listing is not by paying me, but by donating to the chamber and promoting it to their contacts.
Wow.
So he said, look, if we'll give everybody a listing, and if anybody upgrades, that money is just going to go to the chamber. Like, I'm just going to give it to the chamber. Okay. And then he said the third thing he's doing for them is that he will do monthly webinars for no charge to add value to the chamber. Right. But on the webinars, what he made the stipulation that, he offers, promotion and coaching for local businesses. Right. So the webinars are really a way for him to talk about that service and to show people he's an expert and get them in to what he's doing. Right. So, and he said, so with these webinars, so he said the third offer is that I will do monthly webinars promoting my coaching for no charge to add value to the membership. This will be donation based and the chamber gets all the proceeds. So if members want to donate for the webinars to be on them, then that chamber gets that money as well. And he said, in exchange, they will populate and promote his site and promote his coaching. So, I mean, I told Jeff, I was like, one, I think that's a great model because you're bringing so much value up front to the chamber, right? Like the chamber is getting, their members are getting exposure, they're getting donation. Like there's a lot of upside for the chamber in that. And I said, just a couple of things that were curious to me was like, well, one, like how many coaching students do you need to make all that work you're doing worthwhile? Right. And not just like you doing a bunch of stuff for free. And he said, his answer is great. He said, honestly, closing one coaching client would justify a lot of time and effort. Right.
Wow.
So the thing that's really good is like, Jeff knows his numbers, right? He knows what his packages are and that kind of stuff. But he said, but to be really worthwhile, he'd want to see at least 12. But he really thinks it can be a win-win situation. So he's going to keep me updated on how that goes. But I thought it was a great strategy and a really good idea.
That is a really cool strategy and a really good idea. And it's one of those things where you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. It's just like I was telling you yesterday, Tom, about like, renting the office space and doing this huge, expansion.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going to happen. And it's kind of scary, right? It's kind of scary to make this investment. It must be scary for Jeff. Like you don't really want to go do that right now because you're not sure what's going to happen, right? It might be scary for Shannon. I know that he was expanding and Dorn. I mean, all these people are walking, in faith that something cool is going to happen out of what they're doing. They don't really know, right? We're not really guaranteeing, or we don't have a guarantee on what's going to happen. So I just think that, watching other people do that, walk in that faith, and kind of attack their goals to see what happens. I mean, anytime we can highlight that in our group, I think that's an amazing thing that we should do. So yeah, we should keep posting on that. I know a lot of people on this call are interested in that. And I know that David, actually, him and Drew do have a really good chamber strategy that I've seen a little bit about. I haven't seen a lot, but we should connect on that at some point, David and Drew. I do want to hear more about that.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Oh yeah. I've been watching some of the things Drew's been posting about that, and it's really awesome. Yeah. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and that's that whole thing too. You talk about being scared and all that stuff. Really, it's that, right? Like that's one of the things that I think separates entrepreneurs and people that want to do their own thing from other people is that you really do have to develop a tolerance for uncertainty and risk and really just get okay with that feeling that there's no guarantee, right? There was no guarantee when I started my agency that it would be successful, right? There's no guarantee when we started Offline Sharks that it was going to grow. Like we took a lot of risk in the beginning, and there was a lot of time when it was like, it was really choppy, and some people like your friend on the couch, Nick, can't handle that. Like they can't handle not they just can't handle that uncertainty, or there may be long periods of times, weeks, months, sometimes even years of where you're not really making very much money. And it's just a constant struggle. I know I went through that. And, it's easy when something is successful to just look at it and think that it's always been that way, and to forget that the success that people are having is because they took the risk and now they're getting the reward. That's why entrepreneurship, in my mind, is like such a great thing to go after, why you want to build a business, because yes, there's a whole lot of risk. There's a whole lot of uncertainty. There's a whole lot of times where you don't really know where the money's going to come from and what's going to happen. It can be really super stressful, but the reward when it does work is like really, really super big. And I think it's who's the guy on Shark Tank that owns the basketball team? What's his name?
Man, I know them all.
I can see his face, but I can't think of his name.
He owns the Mavericks. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that guy.
Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary,
Mark Cuban. Thank you, Adil. Mark Cuban. Yeah. Mark Cuban has a quote where, because he failed at a lot of businesses. Like a lot of businesses he tried to start went under, they didn't work out. And one of the things they asked him about that, like, what about all the failures? And he said, well, I don't really care about the failures because I only need to be right once. Like, I only need to be right once. And I was like, and that's so true. Like, I've tried a ton of different things to try to make money and get a business going. And, I've tried a lot of different things in my agency, and like, you just keep trying and keep trying. And, for me, eventually I just hit on some things that worked. Right. But I kept trying. Right. Cause you only have to be right once. Like when I talk about that 9x12 postcard, I don't ever tell you about the hundreds, if not thousands, of foot in the door strategies, services I tried to sell that never worked out. Right. But that one was money. That one worked like gangbusters. And I even had a company for a while called Above Average Content. And like my goal was I was just going to write content for people, SEO articles. I was going to do copywriting. Like, didn't work out. Never worked out, And so it's that, but I just keep trying. I keep trying new things, keep trying different stuff. And eventually I hit something that worked.
Yeah. Well, do we have a member of the week?
We do. James said not as many as me, I bet.
I doubt that, James.
I doubt that.
I might put some money on that one.
Hey, I'll tell you, James, what's so funny is like when we go with our mastermind where all those people in there have 7-figure businesses in that mastermind, all of them say the same thing. They all of them have had a lot of failures, things that didn't work out. Like they didn't just spring up overnight, so always good to remember that. Yeah. So let's do a member of the week. And then I have a read.
We're gonna be running a little bit over, you guys, but there are a couple more things, because we want to talk about Dialhawk too a little bit.
Oh yeah. All right, let's do this. Let's do our member of the week real quick. So our member of the week, who was the top contributor. Let me share my screen here so you can see our little member of the week.
Tom's going to give his BMW.
You wouldn't want it. It's an older one. Why don't you give him your truck, Nick?
I can't. I just got that thing.
The member of the week is Sean O'Brien.
I had a feeling it was Sean. That's awesome.
Sean O'Brien. Congratulations, Sean. You are member of the week for the most contributions to the group. So we have something special for you, Sean. So if you can reach out to Cameron, or one of our team will reach out to you, we'll get your info.
Yeah.
That way we can get you.
Sean, could you reach out to Sean? I know she's here with us.
Yeah. So congratulations, Sean. Really awesome.
Sean.
We got.
I saw some action in the group from Sean. So lots of action. Appreciate that, Sean. You've been helping out our members, and I mean, you're just a great addition to the group. So good stuff.
Yeah. Way to go, Sean. Okay, so let me do the quick book of the week, and then we can talk about Dialhawk, because the book of the week ties in to Dialhawk. And if you don't know, so Dialhawk is a software. We did a training with Paul James the other day on his Dialhawk. It's a thing for generating leads for businesses. It's really, really great. Nick's going to talk about it some more here in a minute. But some of you may not know that Paul is also actually a best-selling author. And he had a book called Reverse Engineer Your Future. Stop waiting for success. Go out and make it happen now. And this, it's a quick read. How many pages, right? Really quick read. And it's really, Paul talks about, how he got started and the things that he did to start growing and be successful. And it's really an amazing story, because one of the things you may not know about Paul is that, like, I think at one point he was like sleeping in his car in the Walmart parking lot. Like, he worked at Walmart and he was sleeping in his car. And now, he was able to build a really successful agency and offering lead generation services to businesses. And so he did that. And, now that's what he helps other people do. He shows them how he did it. He has a lot of really great software for it. And so, and I mean, more than anything, he's just like a super authentic, real guy. Like, he's one of the guys that Nick and I got to know early on when we launched Offline Sharks. He's been a huge mentor for us. Just a really, really great guy. One of the real good guys out there. So I definitely check out his book, Reverse Engineer Your Future, by Paul James. And you can see all the books we recommend on the show if you just go to offlinesharks.com/books. You can see them all listed there.
Yeah, that's actually a really good book. I read that book, and I read that book on a couple of plane rides. We anytime we leave here, we have a 5-hour flight, right? Anywhere we go. So it's always good to take a book with you. But yeah, you guys, as Tom mentioned, Paul's story is it's pretty much exactly what we've been talking about all day. He's just another regular guy that, at some point back against the wall, started to do some things differently. And, you can read about it in his book there. It's an amazing story. I can personally relate to it so much as well. Both Paul and I have a lot of things that we do very similarly and a lot in common. And, one of the things over the last, I want to say about a year or so is, he's been, maybe even a little longer, he's been working on his, call tracking lead generation software plus training course, which is Dialhawk, right? And we did a training where he showed you everything that he was doing to do lead generation as a service for businesses. If you haven't watched that training yet, here's the link on the screen. Go ahead and put it in another tab and pause it and watch it after this live, which should end in a little bit here. But I want to talk a little bit more about that because I made a post in the group about lead generation as a service, and it's a great service to offer businesses. But I started doing lead generation for myself to diversify what I was already doing. You look like you have something to say, Tom.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a good comment about something. I didn't want to skip over it.
Nope.
So think about this, you guys. Who's familiar with lead gen, by the way? You guys know what lead gen is, right? I mean, a lot of you, the training was so well received, so much good feedback, so much, just great information and content, regardless of whether you jump in on Dialhawk or not. It's a crazy low price right now for, I think, till midnight, right? Midnight. So. Yeah, till midnight. Regardless of if you use Paul's software or not, like the training, the strategy for this, for lead gen as a service for customers and for yourself, you can take that and you can apply it to whatever you want. So number one, the training is awesome. and it's worth checking out by itself, because Paul actually has never come out and done that training for anybody. Like, I literally had to like remind him like 4 or 5 times, like, hey, will you come do that Dialhawk training for us? Like, the sharks need to see that. You won't find it anywhere else. He's never done it other than within his tribe. So check it out if you are interested in doing that. But I wanted to say how I wanted to, for those of you that are interested in it, you might consider doing it for yourself at first to bring in customers for you and get yourself familiar with, how to do it, how to fulfill the service. That way, when you're talking to prospects and potential, customers for your business, you know what you're talking about. You know how to, the ins and outs. And for me, I think I shared, I did show a screenshot, but I want to show you guys my lead gen site real quick, just because, again, we want to lead by example here. We don't want to talk about something that, we're not doing, right? I want to show you my site. So hang on one second. Let me pull it up. Because you guys, by the way, a lot of you helped me out in the Facebook group yesterday, pointed out where my site was ranking, my main agency site, right? nickponte.com. Now, I have that site, and it's obviously ranking really well, as a lot of you helped me point out, in the group. But why would I create this site? If I have this other site that's doing so well, why would I create this site? It's a new, well, it's not new because it's a lead gen site, but it's called Mina Marketing. And the reason I spent the time to create this site is because I wanted to capture more of the traffic for marketing services. You can see I'm doing SEO, website design, social media marketing. These are all terms that I'm ranking for, long tail terms. These are terms that you can rank for really quickly if you do it right. There's not a lot of competition for these long tail type keywords. So if you, a good example of a long tail term is, instead of a more competitive term like SEO Maui, you could search for something like best SEO expert in Maui. Like, that's much less competitive than SEO Maui. And there are still people that are probably searching for that keyword. You just need to identify that low-hanging fruit, the ones that aren't competitive but have some sort of traffic, and then base your lead gen site around that. So that's really the premise of what Paul's doing with what he's teaching strategy-wise. And, I got a lead from this site just at the beginning of the month. I think it was the first month of June. They wanted a website and social media marketing. So not only a one-time fee customer, but also a recurring service customer. And this lead came through this site. It didn't come through my site that's ranking number 1 for all those terms. It came from the site that's ranking on page 2 or 3. So, is this a viable way for you to get customers for yourself? Yes, 100%. Does it take a long time to implement? Actually not, if you follow this strategy. So can it be something that you can do as more of a newbie? Absolutely. And, when you want to maybe for those of you that are already familiar with doing lead gen and all that, of course, you can take Paul's software and strategy and apply it to your customers and offer it as a monthly service. So I could take this strategy and I could sell it to any of my clients. And we do a lot of lead gen already. And they pay us a monthly fee to, bring in those leads to their business. And at the end of each month, we send them a report which shows them how many leads we've brought in. And the way we do that is through call tracking software. So that call tracking software that Paul includes in the membership, that's again on a crazy discounted price right now. That allows you to help convey to your customers the return on their investment with you, which, as you guys know, it can be a difficult thing to do if you're doing SEO, right? Business owners that buy SEO from you, sometimes they'll hit you up through email or direct message or text and say, hey, what's going on? What are we doing? Is my site ranking? It's been 2 months. What's happening? Not with lead gen, because you can very clearly say, hey, last month we brought in X amount of customers. They clicked this phone number, this link. We have it in our call tracking software. So that's the premise. I hope you guys check it out. It's something that we're doing. It's a great way to get more customers, and you don't have to be extremely experienced to get going. Actually, if you take Paul's training, he literally takes you step by step and shows you how to do it. And you know what we really love about Paul is he's, again, just an authentic, real guy that's doing this stuff. It's not a lot of hype. It's just real world stuff. So I hope you guys will check it out. I know a lot of you already have. And yeah, that's it. That's it for my.
Yeah, well, one thing I like about what Paul does is like his strategy to land the clients is just like so super dead simple. Like he just, the strategy of just sending them some leads before you even talk to them, and then talking to them is really super smart, right? It makes like bringing those people in and closing the deal really easy. I actually used that strategy very early on. So I built out a site in the moving niche and then ranked it here in Maui, and then just started sending some leads to a mover. And then after they had gotten some of the leads, I reached out to them and was like, hey, this site gets leads like that every month. I'd like to rent it to you. And so I just started renting them the site for $300 a month. And it just kind of ran in the background. Like I didn't really have to do much. And then, eventually they came to me and they were like, hey, we'd just like to buy this from you. And so I think I ended up selling that site for like $3,000. So, I rented it to him for, I think, a year, maybe more. So it turned out to be a pretty lucrative thing for me. And that's, again, where that kind of lead gen stuff can go. So
do we have that lead gen?
We do. We have, we put that case study in the rank, rent, sell. We had a case study, rank, rent, sell.
I'm trying to think, Tom. I had an idea.
It's basically just over the shoulder videos of me showing how I did that, right? Like I did it through SEO, right? So like I give like the SEO blueprint I used, what I did, the outsources I used, all that stuff.
Did you get my text message?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want, I mean, I don't know how many people have that case study. I can't remember how we rolled it out,
What do you guys think? Does this interest you? Put a 2 in the chat box if this interests you. Jacqueline says, I'm listening. Your ideas are usually profitable, Nick. That's funny. Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what you guys think, because I just had an idea, not planned in any way, but I'm thinking like, how many, with what Tom said, like he had, and I remember this site, and I remember this case study. I remember what he did there.
Ugly site. It is horrible. It's terrible.
It was one of those sites where if you found it in Google, you'd be shooting remote client system videos. You'd be doing everything because they need you. They need you.
Terrible site.
So, and I remember that when you sold that site, that was a very profitable thing. Like first you made money recurring at first, and then you were like, hey, I'm just going to sell it. So if that interests you, what do you guys think about? Because I know that we have that set up, Tom, in like a members area, like a separate, like we just never really did anything with it. But maybe this would be the time to, because it pairs so well with Dialhawk, for anybody that would be interested in joining Dialhawk, you could also have our strategy as well. What do you guys think about that? What if we were to throw in a fast action bonus to anybody on this live with us? If you go watch the replay after this and you look at Dialhawk and you say, hey, I can do this, and you want to take Tom's strategy as well, then we will give you access to that entire blueprint. How, Tom, maybe you could give them the what's in there again.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a case study, right? So I talk about, how I put the site together. I talked about what I did SEO wise. Like I got some, I did some pretty basic SEO to it. I give you there's a little SEO blueprint in there. Like I laid out exactly what I did. I basically just put a tracking number on there, waited for the site to start getting some calls, and then just started forwarding those to a mover. So, I mean, it's really, I mean, I can't remember how many, I mean, I haven't looked at that in a long time. I can't remember how many videos are in there, but it's basically the whole strategy, right? Just a case study of everything I did. And then I talk about why I decided to rent it versus selling the leads, right? Because, there's two ways you can go with that. You can either sell the individual leads or you can just rent out the site. I chose to rent the site out because I didn't want to deal with the headache of the individual leads. It was just really easy, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that would be so informative and powerful for everybody that's with us. I mean, like, you guys would want to see Tom's thought process on that and why he breaks that down and why he did what he did and how you can apply that to Dialhawk as well. Because I think it's, everybody should have a few of these lines in the water. And I say lines in the water because I like to fish. And when we go fishing, we put, 5 or 6 different fishing poles with lines in the water, because if you have one line in the water, you have an opportunity to catch one fish. But if you have 6 lines in the water, you have an opportunity to catch 6 fishes. So, as we're doing what we're doing, building our business, you should put multiple lines in the water, and a lead gen situation is a way to do that. So I think that, yeah, let's do that. And I see a bunch of people are already asking, like, that you guys already signed up and you're wondering if you can get the bonus too. So we'd never leave you hanging like that. Cameron's probably going to kill me, but,
we love our support staff. If you guys are on here, we love you all.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're already in Dialhawk, why don't you just shoot us and
I think this is the best way to do it. Don't send us a ticket. When the promotion is over, we will send out a list to everybody who has purchased Dialhawk. We'll get that list from Paul, and we will send out an email with access to the members area of this separate bonus. Okay. And you won't need to send us support asking for the bonus, all that. We will have all of your names. All you have to do now that we're done with this live is go to the link on the screen, watch the replay, have your mind blown, take Paul up on his, great software training, special that he's offering right now. And then, that's it. We'll send you it's going to come down. Like, we can't offer it past the close. So you'll want to do that now after this call. And I think the special pricing closes tonight at midnight. So I would go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us on this live. It was a lot of fun. I know we went a little over, but super excited you guys hung out with us on this Friday. Just a couple of things, man. Go out there, take action, keep your head up, hold the faith, right? Like we've been talking about. Stay safe. Practice.
Hold the line. Hold the line.
Yeah, toe the line.
No. Hold the line. I think it was
hold the line. Yeah, hold the line. Yeah. But I think too, something we don't talk about a lot too is, like, while you're doing all this, man, try to have some fun. Like, entrepreneurship should be fun. We should be having some fun while we're doing this, right? We want to have fun, so I know it's all very serious and all that stuff, and like, put your best effort in, but try to remember to relax and have a little fun while you're doing it. Enjoy the ride. So we'll see you guys next Friday, same shark time, same shark channel. And aloha, everybody.
See you, everyone.